Cashiers of Reddit, what products make you silently judge the persons who buy them? Don't forget to subscribe for daily Reddit videos. Every week, this woman bought a shopping cart full of toilet paper. It wasn't my business to ask why, but was curious, how could anyone or any family use so much of it? One day, she said that she was glad it finally went on sale, because she donated most of it each week to the 2 homeless shelters in town. I thought that was so great. When parents with very overweight kids buy nothing but junk food. Every time this question comes up, I wonder, what makes you think I think anything about you? I think about my feet hurting, my back aching, and how long until my shift ends. You, not so much. Bracelets that harness the healing energy of magnets. A Vietnamese lady came in a day after Valentine's Day to buy candy. She bought hundreds of bags. I made a joke about how the dentist bill must be insane, and she told me how she sends the candy to orphan homes in Vietnam because they don't have candy there apparently. Don't judge a book by its cover, guys. Edit. A few words edit too. Stop saying it's BS. The story is true, whether the lady lied or not. However, I don't know, but I'd like to believe that she is just a good person. I worked as a cashier at Kmart once and it was like my 3rd week there, and then this couple came into my line. They were buying lube, tissues and condoms. As awkward as it was, I had to ring them up. Then out of the complete blue the guy asks me, "Hey, you should ask me what I'm going to do with those." My supervisor turns and looks me dead in the eyes as a literal ball of sweat drips from my brow. I'm awestruck. I continue to ring them out in silence, then I say I'd rather not. They both laugh at me and I just continue to ring them out. Heavy judgment because the chick was really hot. Every time I buy lube, I always get this feeling that the cashier thinks I am buying it to have butt sex. I didn't judge, but it's a great story. I saw a guy in the condom aisle looking absolutely baffled. I'm a pharmacist and went to help. With an inward sigh, "Some people have no idea how to use them," he said. "I have no idea what I'm looking at. There are so many. I've been fixed for almost 20 years, but my boy's going to college, and I don't want him bringing STDs or any babies home with him." He got really excited when I told him about spermidine and bought 5 to 6 dozen count boxes. That's a good dad. I cashiered at Home Depot. Had a dude in his mid-20s pull up to my register with 1. Rope 2, duct tape 3, cleaning gloves 4, tarp 5, bleach 6, Febreze 7, cookies 8, bucket 9, sponges. I rung him up. I didn't even notice what he'd purchased until he came back in. He just said, "Dude, I could be planning a murder and you didn't even care." What the fuck? I just lost $20. Then he went to return everything except the cookies. True story. Edit. FFS. Yes, Home Depot sells cookies. They're like right next to all the chips and sodas. They're those 98-cent grandma cookies that come in packs of 2. Them bitches is straight fee. Had a teenage girl come in with several members of her family. They all came up to the counter practically in tears and bought a pregnancy test. She then went into our bathroom to take the test, which I thought was odd. Seems like the kind of thing you do in the sanctity of your own home. Then the girl comes out, bawling. And then her family starts bawling and they're making a huge scene in the middle of my store. It was super duper awkward. When parents get angry at their kids for wanting a 50p pack of stickers, or some cheap child's magazine saying we don't have enough money for that, whilst paying for cigarettes and lottery tickets. Not a cashier, but I learned the other day that apparently you get judged for buying alcohol at 7 a.m. The cashier was pretty vocal about it, and if I wasn't so non-confrontational, I would have told the manager. She flat out said something along the lines of, "It's a little too early for boozing up, don't you think?" 1. None of your business if I'm drinking early in the morning. 2. It was on sale during a routine trip to get milk and such. Am I supposed to just leave it and come back after 5 p.m. to buy my alcohol? However, when I got home, I realized how my entire purchase looked. I got milk, chocolate milk, Lunchables, also on sale, and a strawberry daiquiri. She probably thought I had kids or something, so I understand her concern. Kind of. She didn't have to say anything, though. It really struck a nerve. Edit. For those asking if she was joking, maybe. Her tone didn't sound very jokingly, but I may be wrong. Either way, alcoholism is a serious thing and it kind of strikes a nerve when it's implied in such a manner. If it was obvious she was joking around, I wouldn't have gotten so upset over it, but her tone really did make it feel offensive. When a guy buys feminine hygiene products and has to explain that it's for his girlfriend. Dude, nobody thinks you were buying tampons for yourself. Edit. I have learned many disturbing new uses for tampons. From alcoholic butt plugs to boner hiding apparatus. Ex-cashier of 5 years here. After a while you don't notice and it all becomes the same because you're so familiar with the items your store carries. Only time I have made an extreme judgment based on items purchased was when a man came in and purchased peanut butter, dog treats, condoms, lube and rope. Not even joking. One of our customers buys anywhere from 25 to 32 bottles of laxatives a week. Every week, and not the oral kind either. Not a cashier either. But when my friend would buy Depends, you could tell the cashier and everyone in line would judge him hard. He was a 23-year-old college kid who still peed the bed when he drank. He tried his best, man. Edit. No, he didn't wear them to parties. He tried to remember to put them on when he drunkenly got home. This led to him putting them on backwards multiple times. This effectively kept his piss out of his diaper and in his bed. Once he forgot to put them on and brought a girl home. Let's just say he convinced her that he drunkenly showered in the middle of the night. Her ride home must have been mortified. He's not my friend anymore. TLDR, while being a cashier I questioned why someone would subject themselves to itchy fabrics. As a teenager I was judged for buying condoms that were for a reason other than sex. The only time I can remember having a thought about a customer was when they bought our camouflage print lingerie with pink edging. I honestly could care less if they wanted to buy it, even though I thought it was hideous. But while folding it I couldn't get over how itchy the fabric was. I was curious about why someone would subject themselves to that. My shopping habits were judged by a cashier when I was 14. My music teacher sent me to the store for unlubricated condoms. They are a way of keeping actors' sweat from damaging body microphones. It was a small town and the cashier knew me. She was horrified about what I was buying, and before I could explain she insisted on calling my mother to let her know I was having sex. I then got to explain in a very loud voice I was a virgin and they were for microphones. Even if I had been buying them for sex I would think the smarter move on her part would be to sell them to me. If teenagers have decided to have sex then they are going to do it regardless of how adults feel. Public shaming and denying them protection is not going to stop sex, but can lead to other consequences. Edited to add additional information. Both the teacher involved and myself are females. Not a cashier, but I shop at Whole Foods. Invariably there will be someone in front of me. She will have some $30 snake oil supplement and an overloaded container of prepared food, the kind where you pay by the pound. She will pull out cash as she is rung up and realize that she doesn't have enough to cover both, so she takes the snake oil and leaves the food, which cannot be resold. I assume not only is she a moron for buying some bullshit supplement but is hoping the cashier will let her keep the food once it has been voided, since it is going into the trash. This isn't exactly the same thing, but I used to work at AutoZone. One day a customer came in and asked if there were any deals on our strongest antifreeze. I asked him if he meant the lowest temperature rating and he said no, the one with the most ethylene glycol. I was really confused and asked him what he needed it for, and he told me it was because his neighbor's kids just got kittens and they were trespassing on his property. I excused myself and went back to my boss / the store manager and told him, and he told me I had to make the sale. I had to sell him 4 gallons of antifreeze to kill some defenseless kittens and absolutely crush his neighbor's kids. I try to never say I hate anybody and I never wish harm on anybody, but yeah. Freshman year of high school, I was a cashier at a local grocery store. There was an upscale organic cupcake boutique in town that sold their cupcakes for about $4 each. It was ridiculous, but people still bought them. Anyway, the owner would come in every other week and buy about 20 boxes of Betty Crocker cupcake mix and frosting. She must have had like a 2000% rate of return on those things. Edit. The cupcake boutique has since gone out of business, and the lady was a bitchy soccer mom in her mid-30s, so I doubt she was the confession on here, but it's interesting to know how common this apparently is. I used to work at a Save-A-Lot as a cashier. Our client base tended to be a little lower on the economic ladder. At the first of the month, when the benefits get loaded to their cards, I always hated to see people push a cart up full of soda, chips, etc. These people also usually tended to be in poor health. I didn't really judge them. I more felt pity for them. I also didn't like seeing people who would come in with the PIN number for their card on a piece of paper. It was a small town. I know that wasn't your card. I didn't hold it against the people who had the misappropriated card, but more against the people who sold their $300 worth of food stamps for $150 so they could buy alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, etc. The sad part was, a lot of the people selling had kids. I was at Walmart buying groceries and picked up a bottle of lube. I have a fleshlight. It wasn't for butt stuff. This young guy was ringing me up. But when he tried to scan the KY Ultragal it didn't work, so he kept trying to scan it. Then I could see it on his face. He suddenly realized what he was holding. He looked really uncomfortable as he kept trying to scan it. Normally I'm slightly embarrassed as I pay for lube. Not this time though. As he kept running it over the scanner, I softly said, "Yeah, keep going," just like that. His face turned red and it finally scanned. I paid for my groceries and was on my way. Best time I ever had buying lube. I have had to buy a few pregnancy tests in my time and I always switch the diamond ring my BF bought me to my left hand so I don't get a look of pity. Just so you think I am not crazy, I have a really irregular period. Sometimes I'll skip a month, sometimes I'll get 2 in a month. But point is that I am on no schedule, so I have to take pregnancy tests a lot because I am not sure if it is my weird period or pregnancy. We sell Batman underwear that comes with an underwear cape at my work. I always have a little bit of judgment when those come through my line. Also, when old people buy leggings. The only people I silently judge are the ones trying to make up a reason for me to not silently judge them. So what if you eat that whole cake by yourself? Live a little. Not a cashier, but I have a story. I got rectal cancer at age 28. I had my rectum removed. During recovery I became completely incontinent, so I had to start wearing Depends. Just for clarity, I'm a tall, skinny, relatively well-dressed young woman. The teenage boy checking me out at Walmart let out a quiet damn when he bagged them. Lol, I work in a small hardware store, and if someone comes up to buy a plunger, and sometimes it's these young women, I wonder if they're the ones who just took a big enough shit to clog up their toilet and have to come get a plunger. If every single product is organic and costs twice as much as its non-organic counterpart, and you talk on your phone while checking out and wear your sunglasses inside and your little tennis skirt. I don't like to judge people, but that just screams upper class white entitled bitch. And I'm white. If you buy groceries using WIC, woman with infants and children, basically low-income help for not-so-well-off mothers, and food stamps, and then go over to the counter to buy a carton of cigarettes and $400 in scratch-offs, I am judging the fuck out of you. Had so many people do this when I worked retail. Edit. Just so there is no confusion, I have no issues with WIC or food stamps. They are both great programs when the people using them are actually using them to get by and not just to fleece the system. I'm not a cashier, but once my husband and I were buying cosplay items. We bought a crowbar, a bat, and duct tape. The cashier asked if she needed to call the police.